නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතු සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස. Dear fortunate Dharma friends, on this great occasion, now you are going to listen to the Dhamma preached by our great Buddha. You may have some experiences listening such type of Dhamma in various language. Now you are gonna to listen this Dhamma in English. Sometimes this may be very interesting things in your life. However, without wasting times, let's consider the valuable factors that have been preached our great Buddha. For this today's sermon, I got a particular themes to describe according to selected topics. Actually, I hope to today give you the clarification according to the Vitakka Santahana Sutta. Sometimes you may have heard about that particular discourse. However, before listening the Dhamma, Buddha has always guided to the preacher to describe the benefits that can be gained from the listening the Dhamma. So, actually Buddha has mentioned that various types of benefits that can be extracted by the engaging with the listening Dhamma. Among them actually there is a particular saying, Asutang Sunati, which means you will be able to listen the things that has been never listened before. It's also kind of benefits. And as well as Sutam Pariyodapeti, if you have heard before this type of Dhamma, however, listening again and again, you can establish that Dhamma in your life. So you can get such type of benefits from listening the Dhamma. In addition to that mentions benefit, you can gain more results by listening the Dhamma. Then I hope to enter that particular discourse that I have used for this Dhamma sermon, Vitakka Santahana Sutta. Actually, as human being, we are suffering from various types of things. According to Buddhist perspective, for the every problems that we are experiencing due to our mind. Mind is main things in everything according to Buddhist opinion. Buddha has preached much more details related to the mind. Even though we cannot touch as physical thing, the mind, it plays a major role in Buddhism. Sometimes the mind has been mentioned as the organs, as we have other organs, eyes, nose, tongue, so on things. The mind is mentioned as the organ. It has a separate and it has a particular function system. So, however, this mind can be pure and as well as impure. You may have heard about the first stanza of Dhammapada. It implies the functions of the mind. Mano Pubbhangama Dhamma, Mano Setta, Mano Maya, so on things. Mind proceeds all mental states. Mind is the forerunner. So then you can understand that mind plays a major role Then Buddha has mentioned in this discourse in the Vitakka Santana Sutta how we protect our mind from unwholesome thoughts. That is the fundamental objects of the Vitakka Santana Sutta. Actually, when we focus on Vitakka Santana Sutta, its inclusion, it consists very valuable. As I mentioned earlier, as normal human being, we have to engage with various type of activities in day-to-day life. We have to associate with many peoples. So then we should have some comprehensive knowledge how to deal with others, how to deal with other things. Then when we are dealing with other things, our minds actually subject to impure, and sometimes our mind goes here and there, and sometimes we cannot control it. We conflict with others, we make so many we do much more bad things. So then it is essential fact and essential things to having such type of method to protect our mind, to control our mind. Then in Vitakka Santana Sutta, Buddha has clearly pointed out that 5 types of method that can be achieved, that can be used actually for such things. The way how protecting our mind from unwholesome thoughts or unskillful thoughts, we can use these types of methods. Without wasting much more time, let's begin, let's focus on such type of ways and means that depicted in Vitakka Santana Sutta. The first one is, actually Buddha has mentioned that focusing on another object is mentioned as the first and foremost fact. Then let's get some clarification related to the first way of removing such type of thoughts actually. In case evil, unsuccessful or unskillful, unwholesome thought arise in our mind, we can use first method. Actually Buddha has used type of simile or example. So we can get a particular simile actually. Buddha uses a process that used by a carpenter. We have seen many wood table. We have seen many tables, and when we deeply focus on its constructions or the creation, we can see actually many coarse peg. You know what is the coarse peg? So Buddha uses a particular simile. A carpenter uses finer peg to remove coarse peg. That is the explanation, that is the simile, that is the example. Okay, in order to remove coarse peg, a carpenter has to use a finer peg. In this manner, we can use that method when we are experiencing unwholesome thoughts in our mind. How we do actually in our day-to-day life? For example, if you are experiencing unwholesome thoughts in your mind, or evil, unskillful, unwholesome thoughts in your mind, you can use wholesome thoughts. That is the method. If you can actually control your emotion, you can control your volitions or thoughts by using such type of valuable things. You can use the first method that has been preached by the Buddha, which is actually in case unwholesome thought arise in your mind, you can use wholesome thought instead of unwholesome thoughts. Sometimes you may have experience. If we let such type of thoughts to grow our mind, what happen? What is the result? Actually, the negative perspective will be produced, will be generated. Then it is essential and it is a must actually cultivating wholesome thoughts instead of the unwholesome thoughts. Very valuable and very beautiful simile used by the Buddha. Okay, you know actually the results when we are having wholesome thoughts and as well as when we are having unwholesome thoughts. Unwholesome thought always produce negative perspective which conduce in this very life and as well as life after death. Then we should follow this type of method to protect our mind, because we have to live very complex society. Then we should know the ways and means to attach for such type of incident. Then I believe that you will be able to gain a knowledge the first way that has been mentioned by the Buddha. Then we can focus on the second technique that has been preached by the Buddha in Vitakka Santana Sutta to use for the unwholesome thoughts. Actually, when we are discussing this type of valuable discourses, we can identify that the importance of the Buddhism and the realistic things of the Buddhism. Buddhism is not just the message of the God. Buddhism can be launched actually in every society. In every human being can follow the things that has been discussed from the Buddhism. Everyone can adjust their life actually. So then such type of valuable things are discussed in various discourses. Then when we focus on the second factor or the second technique that has been preached by the Buddha in Vitakka Santana Sutta, the first one is contemplating on the wholesome thoughts, and the second technique is actually thinking or contemplating on negative perspective or the danger inherent. You know what is the negative perspective. So the action produced always two types of things actually. One thing is a good result and the other thing is bad result. The bad result is considered as the negative perspective. Then if you are experiencing, if you are engaging such type of bad thoughts actually, we are talking about how to remove bad thoughts or unskillful, unwholesome thoughts from our mind. Then you can imagine, you can contemplate on the negative perspective of the unwholesome thoughts. Okay, unwholesome thoughts. So you may have many experiences about the negative perspective, what comes up with your action, from even verbal action, from even physical action. We know many people are unable to control their emotion, control their thoughts. They think their action after producing more bad results. So then if we can control our emotion, if we can control our thoughts without producing or before producing bad things, it's actually very valuable facts for us. Then the second thing is contemplating on the negative perspective which come up actually doing bad things or as a result of unwholesome thoughts. If we can at the beginning realize and understand the things that generated through the unwholesome thoughts, we can actually get rid of. We can actually remove, we can stay away from such type of things. Then the Buddha has mentions a particular simile. How it is actually? What is the second simile of that Vitakka Santana Sutta? Buddha has mentioned actually a particular simile to denote the negative perspective of unwholesome thoughts. For example, actually Buddha has mentioned that if someone, we can imagine in this manner, when there is a person who is wearing a clean cloth or clean garment, never willing to actually hang on a corpse of the snake or corpse of the dog. You know what is the corpse? Is just like a dead body. So we know the results when we are hanging on such type of corpse in our body. Our cleans destroy. In this manner, we should focus on the negative perspective of the unwholesome thoughts. How beautiful Buddhism is actually. We can identify the realistic teaching of the Buddhism by following these type of things. We should actually follow in our life using these type of things without keeping these valuable things in our book. Buddha has mentioned these things to use in practical manner. So the third one is which discussed in Vitakka Santana Sutta actually Buddha has used everything with Pali stanzas and using Pali terms, but I do not use such type of Pali terms because if I got such Pali terms, the time flies. If I got such Pali terms, we couldn't conduct this valuable discourse until the end. That's why I'm not using such type of things. I just focus on the valuable factors only. Then the third one, Buddha used a particular simile, asati amanasikaro, which means actually Buddha uses a particular simile when we see a person who don't like to associate. Actually, what we are doing when we see such type of person, we instantly look away. We don't like to look at him. In this manner, in case unwholesome thoughts arise in our mind, we should actually look away, and we should not consider, and we should not think again and again. What happened to if we actually think again and again using such type of thoughts, actually it grows our mind. Sometimes the producing may be very adverse. Then at the beginning, as we look away when we see a person who don't like to actually see, we can follow, we can use such type of method. In this manner, Buddha has pointed out and emphasized very valuable technique actually. Those things can be mentioned as the technique. Even in day-to-day life, we use many techniques to protect our life. In this manner, we can use this type of techniques to protect what actually? Our mind. We can protect our mind from unwholesome thoughts, unwholesome incident. This is actually what the Buddha expected through teaching this type of things. The fourth one is actually basically related to with the name of this discourse. Vitakkanang vitakka sankhara santanang. Actually, this includes very valuable simile. Buddha uses a particular simile to denote this incident. Buddha uses a person who is walking past without deliberately, and the process he uses to stop is mentioned here Buddha as the fourth technique. Actually, imagine in this manner, there is a person who is walking past but without deliberately, and he thinks that why I am walking past. He suddenly stops and standing, and while he is standing thinks that why I am standing. Then he again lie down. While lying down, he thinks why I am lying down. In this process, we can use to control our emotion, to control our unskillful, unwholesome thoughts. Here we should understand unskillful, unwholesome thoughts produce only bad things, including the person who is doing and as well as whole the outer world. Then we can try to use many techniques as soon as possible, because the bad things not only affect for the outer world but also the person who is bearing such type of unwholesome thoughts. Then the fourth, using the fourth technique, Buddha advised us to think and focus on at the beginning of our unwholesome thoughts. Further, he clarifies in this manner, Buddha suggests us to actually think the root of unwholesome thoughts. Why such type of unwholesome thoughts generated in our mind, in my mind? Then Buddha suggested us to go to at the beginning for the root. In this manner, Buddha uses fourth technique to control our unwholesome thoughts. As the last one, Buddha mentioned, even we couldn't control our unwholesome thoughts by using four techniques, we can eventually, at last we can use a huge technique which can be used by using physical parts. Normally, sometimes we bear something actually when we happen something, bad things. How we bear such things? Using our tongue, using our palate. Okay, using these type of things or physical part of the body, we bear something, we endure something, then using this type of method, we can control our bad thoughts. We can actually protect our mind from the unwholesome or unskillful unwholesome thoughts by attaching this type of valuable things. So then you can actually, as normal human beings or ordinary beings, you can control your emotion, you can control your volition or unwholesome thoughts by using this valuable technique that have been preached by the Buddha in Vitakka Santana Sutta. I also suggest you to use these things in your practical life. You can get much more benefits. You will be able to gain more results by following such type of techniques that have been preached by the Buddha. So then I hope to wind up this valuable discourses. You will be able to gain much more things by following these things. Namo Buddhaya. May the Triple Gem bless you.